Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today's NurseCast podcast, whatever you'd like to call it, episode, we are going to be discussing the COVID vaccine mandate. And man, what a time. What a time that was. Just in case you were not able to deduce this fact, am a nurse. So I and a number of other nurses that I don't know, nurses that I worked with, nurses that I know well, we all experienced a very interesting time. And the cherry on top was being told that you would be out of a job if you do not go get this vaccine. Now, I want to first start with saying that there are so many components to this that I do express a sense of understanding for. I do. I do believe that there could be disagreement with understanding. I do understand a number of people running to get the vaccine because they were scared shitless about what COVID could potentially do to them. The news definitely did a number on the mental health of every single individual when it came to trying to educate them about a disease that really no one knew anything about. And that brings me to my next point. A number of people were against the vaccine because in their minds, they're thinking, you don't even know what this thing is. How do you already know what to formulate to create a vaccine against it? In order to create a solution, you must first understand the problem. And again, I can understand both perspectives. I can. I'm not really necessarily here to argue those points. I just want us to set a solid foundation for the direction that we're going in with this podcast. And that is, I'm not sure I agreed with the way this was carried out. And here's why. There are arguments that are really trying to drive home this whole safety thing. Yes, 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 yes. We don't want any of our patients getting sicker. We don't want the elderly population getting sick. We don't know what we're going to do if. So you need to go get the vaccine. We need to do as much as we can to prevent, right? The glare is distracting me. All of that being said, I always have the urge to wipe under my eyes when I take the glasses off because I feel like it gets shiny and then I feel like I haven't slept. It looks like I haven't slept in years. That's not the case. I just slept and I'm fantasizing about sleeping. I'm next to a bed right now. I had to change podcast locations temporarily. Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead and get back to the point. There was this mass firing. Okay, we're just going to cut straight to the point. We're not even going to try to use fancy words here. Thousands of nurses were fired, walked off the job, quit, whatever you want to call it. They were out of work amidst a time where the shortage was so short that the word shortage doesn't do the shortage justice. I just feel like I am confused. In all truth and in all honesty, we need to stress safety. We need to keep everybody safe. Okay. In order to do that, this is what we're going to do. We're going to tell all of these nurses that you need to get vaccinated. Okay. Also, I have a shirt on underneath here. It looks like I'm naked underneath a sheer top. I'm not. I just wanted to make that clear. Anyways, back to the point. Everybody, you need to get vaccinated. If you don't get vaccinated, we have to fire you. We already don't have enough nurses, but please understand, we will fire you. We desperately need you, but we also desperately need you to get this vaccine. More than we need you to come into work to take care of all of these patients, these influx of patients. I hope you guys understand the direction that I'm going in here, okay? I'm not here to say that I was for the vaccines. I'm not here to say that I was against the vaccines. I'm here to say that I don't understand the way the mandate was carried out. I don't. I was there. I was a nurse then. I am a nurse now. I do not understand why we put ourselves in an even more jeopardizing position in the name of safety. We were less safe. There were nurses getting sick. There were nurses dying. Just so we're clear, there were nurses that refused to work because they were afraid of getting their loved ones sick. There were nurses that were taking care of elderly loved ones, nurses that were taking care of newborn loved ones. They were like, I'm not coming to work. I will live off of my savings until this whole thing gets figured out. We were losing nurses left and right for a number of reasons. We were crying about how short we were during the pandemic. We were desperate. We were clawing our way through the pandemic. Okay? Then the vaccine came. And while we were still clawing our way out of the pandemic, we were like, look, we still need as much help as we could possibly get. But if you don't get this vaccine, we are going to make it worse for ourselves and fire you. And here's why. It's just safer. Okay. I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing with the fact that everybody was doing their absolute best. Well, there are components of that statement that I'd like to argue, but not during this episode. I understand the point of trying to be preventative, trying to prevent the spread of a disease. I understand that. I don't know that the sacrifice was worth it. You understand what I'm saying? Sacrifice thousands of nurses. I sound so repetitive, but I'm just trying to make the point here. Sacrifice thousands of nurses when we are thousands of nurses short for the sake of keeping everybody safe by making everyone less safe. Okay, now that I've said that 57 and a half times, I'm going to move on. What did we try to do to cover the loss of nurses? We expedited nursing students. Now, let's pause for just 1 second. Nursing school was a doozy. And the word doozy is kind. Nursing school was a bitch. A bitch and a half. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? I don't think y'all understand what I'm saying. We'll have to turn this television off because I'm getting distracted by the nonsense that I'm seeing in the background. I don't know if it's nonsense. I just see people moving. I don't know, y'all. I'm not understanding why it made sense to completely override all of the necessary, grueling components that were set in place for nurses to become nurses. The grueling components that were set in place to weed out the weaklings that wouldn't make it as a nurse. Okay? Understand that nursing school has certain components that are set in place to weed out the people that they do not believe are strong enough to make it as a nurse. Do we understand that? All of those things, everything that was set in place to make a nurse a good nurse, those components were peeled out of the nursing program. These nurses were rushed into becoming a nurse. Somehow that was safer. That was a safer alternative to finding a middle ground for the nurses who did not want to get vaccinated. Everyone, again, I understand that the pandemic was a scary time, primarily because no one knew what was going on. Now, again, there are components of that statement that I would like to argue, but during another episode. The point that I'm trying to make is it was a confusing time. We were looking to certain people and certain organizations for answers, and those people and organizations, they did not have answers because they did not know. They didn't know. There was so much that was unknown. So yes, it was a little confusing that the things that we were sure of, we made it even more shaky. And I mean seasoned nurses who went to sleep doing nursing in their dreams. Nurses who could handle floor nursing, ICU nursing, and ER nursing, very different components of nursing, very grueling and taxing components of nursing. These seasoned nurses were being let go. These are the nurses that were carrying the pandemic. Everybody was doing their utmost, absolute best. So I'm simply saying my position, my stance is I don't believe that safety was the number one concern when all of those nurses were let go, because all of the alternatives, everything that was done in order to stress that safety was the number one concern, really just stressed the complete opposite. And so that begs the question, what was actually the number one concern? I don't believe it was safety. And just in case y'all didn't hear me, everything that was done as a result of trying to maintain safety only shook the foundation of safety even more. It only disrupted the safety even more. Come on now. The pandemic was new, but pandemics are not new. COVID was new. Okay? I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. We understand what needs to be done in a pandemic. It is understood. Yes, understanding how to deal with the pandemic, a large component of that is understanding the disease. And yes, I understand that we did not understand a lot about the disease. And that is why the number one priority needs to be safety. And that is why I don't understand the direction that everything went in where the COVID vaccine mandate was concerned. Okay? I'm speaking from a nurse who did work on the floor, who worked in a clinic, who worked the vaccine drive-through lines, who worked the swab lines. I was every freaking where. It didn't matter what your specialty was during COVID. They say, are you a nurse? Cool, go to ICU. I've never worked ICU a day in my life. I don't give a shit. Go to ICU. Are you a nurse? Cool, go to labor and delivery. I'm not a labor and delivery nurse. I don't give a shit. Go to labor and delivery. I mean, it was that same shit every mother freaking day. We need a nurse more here than we do here. Actually, you need a nurse both places. You need them equally as much in each place. Why did we let go of thousands of nurses? Let me just help y'all understand something. When I became a nurse, there was no pandemic. There was no need to rush me through nursing school, okay? I became a nurse several years before the pandemic, okay? Yet, when I did become a nurse, I went through all of the grueling processes. I did not know what the fudge I was doing. I did not know. I was a fish out of water. I felt like I was scrambling. I was flailing. All of my limbs everywhere, didn't know what was going on. Asking questions 24/7, afraid to ask questions. But somehow a safer alternative was to rush nursing students through nursing school. Do y'all understand where I'm coming from? I would love to hear what everybody has to say about this. I would love to see your takes on it. I understand that there are other components to these statements and this perspective that I have, and I do believe that those other components will have to take up another episode because you can't cover it all. You cannot cover it all. It's the things that I have seen. It's not just crazy as it pertains to what we saw in the actual healthcare setting. It's so much. It's so much. But what I will say on a brighter note, I was going to say slightly brighter, but it's a much brighter note. My comic book sales have hit just over $10,000, and that is a huge milestone. Um, I'm super excited, and I want to express gratitude. We are moving in the direction of turning it into an anime, and I've been trying for the life of me to upload the snippets of the animations to my Patreon. I don't know if you could say that here, but it won't let me do it. So I'm going to try to keep doing it. I am going to post snippets at the end of this video, so stick around. Please understand that what I'm posting, though, as previews and snippets, they're storyboards. So it's not going to be like a clean cut, finished animation. It's going to be like a sketching, like moving sketches. But the animators that are working on this, even with the clean cut sketches, like it's still so clear that this is going to turn out prestigious. And I'm so excited. And I want you guys to be a part of the process. So subscribe to my website. I'm going to start offering exclusive subscriptions, different tiers, so that I can start bringing you guys along for the ride on all of my other projects. I will have more good news for you guys. Check in with Zyla. I have another episode of that up and running and available for your ears. I'm staying on top of my shit this year, y'all. I'm trying. Don't forget to snag your copy of Namakasi. Let me know what y'all think about this episode in the comments below. Subscribe to my website. Subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends. Thank you so much. Let's take these glasses off so you can see my eyes and not the glare. Thank you so much. Good night, guys. Or good day. Whatever part of the day it is.
Oh, so sorry. I can't pay for the wall, but I can pay for the coffee.
Let's go.
Great. No food, no coffee, no freedom. What a stellar life we live.
Did you pick this up and put it back on the table before we left?
No.
We have to go.
Why? What's wrong?
Someone...
Did I do that?
Well, well, well. Looks like my little brother has been keeping you hostage. What a shame.
Who are you?
I can either be your best friend or your worst nightmare.